Name for me an entitlement. Can you name an entitlement program, Mr. Mamone? Maybe. Can you name an entitlement program? Medicaid, why would I not like it? It is. Medicaid's an entitlement program. That's right. Medicare, all those are entitlement programs. Social Security is an entitlement. Why don't you think they're called entitlements? It's because we've set them up so as to make them things that people expect. I mean, people are entitled to Medicare. They are entitled to it. It means it's not a guess every year whether or not they're going to get something. They're entitled. It's a right. And the increases every year have been built in, and they have been written in such a way that you can't go in there and change them budgetarily because they're in parts of the budget which can't be touched by law. Laws have to be rewritten. That's what putting a cap on entitlements is all about. And you don't have enough people with the guts to put caps on entitlements because the people who receive the entitlements vote. And if you tell them that you're going to blame them for the deficit because they're getting too much money when the amount they're getting is barely above subsistence, then they're not going to hear it either. They're not going to want to hear it. See, we cannot give everybody in this country enough money to make them prosperous. All we can do is give them enough to cause them to have a meager existence or a subsistence. And so collectively, you add all the people up that receive entitlements, and it's huge. It's 55% of the budget. But then you start dividing it by the individuals who receive it. You see, it's not much money individually. Give you an idea of just how much it costs us. And so these individuals vote based on individual things which happen to them. So you tell Mary Snerdley, a long-lost cousin of Bo Snerdley, who has been conditioned to live on the federal entitlement system of Social Security and Medicare, tell her that the $13,000 a year she gets is going to be cut back because she's causing the country to go down the tubes economically. She's going to look at her meager surroundings, say, I'm causing it? No, I'm not. And whoever she can vote against that caused this to happen, or she's going to do. So we're paralyzed. Nobody's got the guts to take on this entitlement stuff. We got a break, and we'll be back after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
There are a lot of conservatives out there, a lot of conservatives like me on radio, a lot of conservatives on TV, and a lot of conservatives who write what they think. So what's the definitive source of conservative thought? Other than me? Why, my friends, it's the Conservative Chronicle. This is a weekly publication. You get 52 issues a year. It's only $39. You know what it is? It's the epitome of the heart of conservatism. All the nationally syndicated conservative columnists in this country and their work reprinted in this publication every week. There's no single source, no better source you can refer to. If you keep every issue, you are building a database that's accessible by a very detailed table of contents of some of the finest, profound conservatism ever assembled. The Conservative Chronicle, $39 a year. Here's the number to call, 800-888-3039. That's 1-800-888-3039. Call them now.
So, hello again, the Wachovia guy here with more about Wachovia's 8.9% Prime Plus Visa and MasterCard. Hey, we all use credit cards. Use mine just as much as the next guy. No big deal, right? Until you realize that some cards out there are charging up to 18% interest. It's ridiculous. I mean, why subject yourself to an overpriced credit card when you can get an 8.9% Prime Plus card from Wachovia? They're cheaper, make it easier to get by. And if you apply by June 30th, you'll even get a $50 rebate. Hey, $50. And Prime Plus comes with transfer checks too. Use them to pay off the other credit cards. After that, just trash your old plastic. So let's cut right to the chase here. It's not crazy to use a credit card. On the other hand, paying a ton in interest is just plain nuts. That's it for now. Catch you later.
Annual percentage rate may vary monthly. $39 annual fee. See a Wachovia personal banker for details. Welcome to personal banking. Welcome to Wachovia.
I'm kind of starting to like that guy.
Ooh-wee! Serial port, parallel interface, modem, fax, RS-232-AB, switch your mouse. Why, this is confusing.
Well, stop by AIM Electronics. See the new line of computer accessories. QBS and AIM Electronics can make your computer connection simple. AIM Electronics has a new and expanded inventory of computer accessories. QBS with a complete line of computer accessories at competitive prices at AIM Electronics that you won't believe. QBS and AIM Electronics, making the right connections for you. AIM Electronics, 411 East Ash Street, Goldsboro.
You know, Mimo really wanted to do it, and people were always saying, Mimo, you really should do it, and now Mimo has done it. Mimo has finally opened his own Italian restaurant. Mimo's offers a full menu for lunch or dinner, and it's easy to find. Mimo's Italian restaurant is at 2215 East Ash Street, Goldsboro. You can't get any more Italian than Mimo's. You know, Mimo, you should really open your own restaurant. Mimo's Italian restaurant, 2215 East Ash Street, now open for lunch and dinner.
With half his brain time behind his back, here's more Rush on 1150 WGBR.
Talent on loan from God. Oh, the voice of angels. I am Rush Limbaugh. Here on the Excellence in Broadcasting Network to Denver. This is Jim. Hello.
Rush.
Yeah.
Mega dittos from the Mile High City.
Thanks much.
Real quick thing, I just want to apologize to whoever roof I was on in Fort Collins at the big rally, but I had to see you. You know, that's a terrible thing. But
I'm glad you were there.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. The best time we've had in Fort Collins since the riots in 86 and 87.
Which riots were those?
Well, we had college days.
Oh, that's right. I've been getting a lot of notes that whenever they have college days, the town gets torn up.
Yeah, well, they canceled college days, so we don't get to play anymore.
Look at this.
It's too bad.
It's amazing.
But the reason for my call.
Yes.
I think a Saturday morning program for children is in store. So you can explain to children a little bit about how the whole system works, combat some of that liberalism in the schools. And I also promised a couple at the Coopersmith in Fort Collins that I'd call and suggest this.
Well, in fact, this suggestion has already been acted on. We're doing some preliminary work now in putting together a Rush character Saturday morning cartoon series.
Fantastic.
To do exactly what you suggest. To expose to young little children the truth of the country in a format and a media that they like. It's cartoons. You see me as a cartoon character. I actually draw the Limbaugh Institute and have these kids. So that we're looking at, animation's expensive. And we're going to be politically incorrect, and we'll have to go the syndication route as we do with everything else we do. But that'll be ultimately the best way. So we're working into it, Jim. Thanks very much for the call.
All righty.
Appreciate it. Renee in Severn, Maryland. Hello, and I'm glad you called.
Well, hi, Rush. I just can't believe I'm talking to you.
Well, you are.
Well, anyway, I just had to comment about that Japanese exchange student.
Yeah.
Is that I don't think there's any way you can justify his being shot like that. He was going to a Halloween party. I imagine he was dressed up in some sort of a costume. And that guy had to see this kid in the costume. You know, I don't think burglars are going to be walking around somebody's yard wearing a Halloween costume. Okay? That's,
Well, sometimes burglars do wear disguise. I agree with you. You don't want to be in the position here of justifying the death of the student. What people are focusing on here and talking about is of course, what could possibly cause the guy who pulled the trigger to do it? Why? That's what people are interested in examining from the sociological aspects, so that you can perhaps find the real reason that it happens, so as to just come up with a solution if you can. But I think it's an accident. One thing about accidents is you can't stop them. We can't prevent them. You can do what you can, but they're going to happen by definition. Do you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I still, I just think the circumstances, it being Halloween, the kid's in a costume, I really don't.
What I see in Halloween, my gosh, look at what happens on Halloween. I mean, the weirdos come out. I mean, it's an understandable fear, I think.
Yeah, I always get money's worth.
We're asking folks how they save money at Pizza Inn.
You'd be surprised at how much you can save, especially when they have the manager specials.
I get the specials all the time out of the paper.
Usually the manager specials is what we get.
Enjoy the manager special at Pizza Inn. Medium pizza, choice of 3 toppings for only $6.99.
It's about as cheap as you can get it anywhere. We would eat here anyway, even if it wasn't on special. And the price ain't bad either.
Tell me, why do you like to save money?
We're tighter than ticks.
You're killing 2 birds with one stone. You're saving money and getting the best pizza.
The manager special, a medium pizza, choice of 3 toppings for only $6.99.
Compared to other places here in town, it's a real good value.
Because you get your money's worth and the food is delicious and you can't get no better.
For Pizza Out, it's Pizza In. And here's where to find the manager special.
Enjoy the manager special at either Goldsboro Pizza Inn, 3009 East Ash Street or Highway 70 Bypass East.
News on the hour, every hour, on your first information source. WGBR, Goldsboro's very own.
From ABC News, I'm Gary Nunn. The president's gotten some advice from House Democrats on strategy when it comes to his economic plan coming up for a vote day after tomorrow. New Mexico's Bill Richardson.
The way to put pressure on the Senate is to pass a clean, strong House bill, and that's our objective.
This is Ann Compton. House Democrats shifted the responsibility back onto the president after their breakfast hour strategy session. 2 Clinton supporters said there will have to be some kind of caps put on entitlement programs for the poor in order to get the administration's big budget package passed this week. Caps are something the White House vigorously opposed last week. The president's friends say they also urged him to take his case right to the American people in some direct appeal for support. They say it needs to be done before the Democrats have to vote on the budget cuts and one of the biggest tax increases in history. Ann Compton, ABC News, the White House.
Sales of previously owned homes jumped last month. Buyers took advantage of lower mortgage rates and pleasant weather to shop around. Sales were up 2.7%, the first increase in 4 months. Consumer confidence has slipped to its lowest level since last October. Jobs are the overriding worry among the 5,000 people surveyed. Dartmouth University researchers find that elderly men who have prostate cancer should think very carefully before having surgery or radiation. ABC's Tony Sargent reports the reason the doctors are taking that position.
These physicians say urologists often recommend surgery and radiologists suggest their specialty, but such radical treatments can cause impotence or incontinence. They say it's sometimes better just to watch prostate cancer because it usually grows very slowly, and if a patient is very old when it appears, he usually dies of something else first.
ABC's Tony Sargent from Washington. A report on the grounding of the Queen Elizabeth II off Martha's Vineyard last August. The National Transportation Safety Board concludes that confusion and poor communication on the bridge of the cruise ship contributed to the accident. You're listening to ABC News.
Are you an inventor? Or do you know an inventor who would like to have an invention or idea submitted to industry? For free information on how to proceed, phone 1-800-727-IDEA. Invention Submission Corporation, one of America's largest invention service organizations, has an inventor's kit you can have free. It contains a form for recording your invention's date of origination, plus an informative brochure and other material of interest to new inventors. Get your free kit by dialing 1-800, then 727-IDEA, IDEA. That's 727-IDEA. Even if you only have an idea for improving an existing product and don't know where to go with it, you will want this free inventor's kit. It shows you how your invention may be packaged and submitted to industry through a data bank and by various other means. It's a free call, so dial 1-800, then 727-IDEA. That's 727-IDEA.
Tapes of telephone calls made a few hours after the February 28th shootout at the Branch Davidian compound in Texas reportedly indicate that leader David Koresh said he should have been given a chance, that he would not have resisted if federal agents had given him the opportunity to talk with them. The Houston Chronicle says the recordings indicate Koresh knew the identity of an undercover agent placed inside the compound using the name Robert Gonzalez. Dozens of youngsters are in Washington, D.C. trying to make the cut in the geography bee. The list is being narrowed to 10 who will compete tomorrow for the championship, reports ABC's John Bascom.
13-year-old Michael Ring of Woonsocket, Rhode Island is one of the 10 finalists in the geography bee here in Washington. How does that make him feel?
I'm just ecstatically overwhelmed.
And the toughest question so far, he says, was boulder and star are types of what physical formation caused by wind erosion?
And I had no clue. I thought for 15 seconds. At the end, I just said dunes because my mother told me not to give up, to just take a guess, and that was the right guess.
10 geography whiz kids compete for big scholarship money when Alex Trebek asks the really hard questions tomorrow. John Bascom, ABC News, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial is now up 3.83 at 3511.61. The volume, 151,920,000 shares. The trading right now is heavy. This is ABC News.
Friends, this is James Whitmore, and I want to talk to you about that lawn of yours. You know, you work all spring to keep it lush and beautiful, and then summer comes and it starts to fade away. Well, that doesn't have to happen to you now because you can keep that springtime green all summer long with Miracle Grow Lawn Food. Just pour Miracle Grow Lawn Food into your no-clog feeder for a midsummer pick-me-up. You'll notice a beautiful difference in just a few days. Your lawn will be greener and healthier all summer long with Miracle Grow Lawn Food.
For the ABC Information Network, I'm Gary Nunn.
More clouds mixed in with the sunshine today and some rainfall in the forecast too as a cold front makes its way from northwest to southeast into the area. The forecast for this afternoon, partly cloudy skies, some scattered afternoon thunder showers around, highs in the mid-80s. Then for tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms still possible, lows about 60 to 65 degrees. Tomorrow, periods of light rain ending late in the morning and increasing sunshine after that. We'll see highs reaching 75 to 80 degrees. At the Weather Center, I'm Mike Moss.
Thanks, Mike. Right now it's 87 degrees as we return to the Rush Limbaugh Show right after this.
Hi, this is Mike Rayland. Join Bill Waters and me for the Precision Mechanic, an hour-long show you can call and find out how to get that car of yours running right. From weird noises to old mechanics' tales, from clunkers to high-performance cars. The Precision Mechanic offers good, honest advice and straightforward answers. Call 1-800-829-TUNE.
Join Bill Waters for Precision Mechanic, Saturday mornings at 10 on Goldsboro's very own 1150 WGBR.
Now, more of the Rush Limbaugh Show on 1150 WGBR.
Expressed by the host on this show make more sense than anything anybody else out there is saying. And the views expressed by the host show that most of America is indeed in the mainstream. You want to be, stay right where you are.
This is a special edition of the Rush Limbaugh program, America Held Hostage. And now from our studios in New York City, here is Rush Limbaugh.
Day 126 of the Raw Deal. The Clinton presidency and a hostage crisis which holds all Americans in its evil clutches. 1-800-282-2882 if you'd like to be on the program today. By the way, something I should have corrected yesterday, another bake sale comment. Some of the media got something wrong, and that is what a ditto head is. I think a ditto head is somebody who agrees with everything I say. There's no such thing as a ditto head. Somebody says, Rush, we love you. You're great. Don't ever go away. That's all a ditto head means. It's not something that implies total devotion or allegiance. Okay, my good friends, we're going to get to phone calls here in just a second. But first, I have a question for you. It's about the tragedy in Louisiana where the Japanese exchange student was shot. Did you hear the Clinton administration's reaction to this? I want to tell you what their reaction was as articulated by George Stephanopoulos. Said Steffi, quote, "We hope that this won't have any harmful effect on U.S.-Japanese relations," unquote. Anybody think that's a bit off the mark, or is it just me? Is it a bit off the mark? It's a weird thing to think. It's a strange thing to think. Anyway, anybody has any comments on that, I would appreciate. How about Denny's? Ooh, would I love to tell you people a story about this, but I am exercising my better judgment here and not doing so. 6 Secret Service agents, black Secret Service agents, were humiliated and ignored at a Denny's restaurant. They're on the presidential detail. The general manager of this Denny's, I think, has been canned. But these guys also do. I thought this kind of racism ended a long time ago. And it has, for the most part. Imagine, of all places, Annapolis, Maryland, for this to happen. Annapolis, Maryland. Well, you know, folks, wonder if I should, I don't, boy, I'm bursting with desire here. I'm really, not, I'm gonna discuss this before I suggest it or mention it, because it's potentially volatile. Here is the New York Times, by the way. I love these liberal media institutions who love to finger point. Racist, bigot, sexist, homophobe, anti-Semite, whatever the baseless charge. The City College of New York has gone out and found a new president. A little-known vice president from California State, Monrovia, or that's not it. Where the heck is it? California. It's a little California State College outside Los Angeles, or within the confines of Los Angeles. I don't have the front page story of this, so I don't have the actual name of the institution here, because that's not the point where she's from. She's black, and she is a big believer in diversity, multiculturalism. But it's the headline here in the New York Times which I called attention to, or has been one thing which grabbed my attention. That is, black woman is appointed as president of City College. The New York Times, black woman. Would they have said Jewish woman is appointed? Would they have said white woman? Would they have said they might have said Hispanic. All these people who claim that we should have a colorblind society, we shouldn't notice people by the color of their skin or their gender or orientation, or whatever, are the ones themselves who constantly point it out to us. How about the story that came out of the San Diego Union last Friday? This is the story about Lorne Fleming. You heard about this? The San Diego Union decided to do an inspection into the privacy of Lorne Fleming. Lorne Fleming is the guy who stood up at President Clinton's town meeting last week in San Diego and asked a very good question. A question that the mainstream White House press corps ought to have asked months ago. His question was, Mr. President, can you name for me one nation that's taxed itself into prosperity? And Clinton said, no, I can't, but that's not what my plan is, and yada, yada, yada. San Diego Union Tribune didn't like this. I guess Lorne Fleming has a well-known track record of being a civil activist out there. He writes letters to the editor all the time. He calls talk shows all the time, so he's well-known. They found out that he is a frequent non-filer of taxes. He hasn't filed his own tax return for long. So what? So what? Doesn't mean the question's irrelevant, and it doesn't mean the question's not qualified. It may not be a question that this guy should be asking in some people's minds, but doesn't matter to me. Oh, he did? Lauren called us yesterday, I'm told. We were doing our bake sale show. He said all taxes were paid. It's a vindictive ex-wife. A vindictive ex-wife. Keep all this in mind, HR. You know, all of us with ex-wives, we love to warn those whose wives are not ex. It's just for the fun of it, HR. Don't sweat it. So Lauren Flips is he's calling. He's just kidding, honey. Answer the phone. So it was a vindictive ex-wife who was the source for the union on all this stuff, and Lauren Fleming says it isn't true. It's none of their business anyway. I don't care, Lauren. If you had not filed your taxes, that's a separate issue. Your question is a question that should be asked, and I'm amazed at the San Diego Tribune. You people out there at this newspaper, and Al Hunt, I think on the Capitol Gang, it was his outrage of the week. Al, the outrage of the week is not that this guy hadn't paid his taxes and then asked the question. The outrage of the week is that you don't care about the question or the answer. It's a legitimate question. The policy doesn't work. It never has. HDTV. Now this, folks, I want you to listen carefully on this. Very, very important lesson to be learned. HDTV is high-definition TV. It is TV that will revolutionize the way we watch TV. It is a sharper picture. What is it? Almost 2.5 times the lines of resolution. Like 525 lines now, HDTV. In fact, it may not even be lines of resolution in the digital system. But it's going to bring to the home the CinemaScope movie experience. The picture will be that sharp and that detailed. There are competing formats out there, just like there was Beta and VHS. Now there is High 8 and VHS-C. So there is an analog HDTV system and a digital system, and the United States was involved in variations of the digital system. The Japanese are focusing on the analog system. About 4 years ago, a number of U.S. companies, I'm not sure which ones, but I think Zenith was one, and General Instruments was another, went to the U.S. government and said, we need some seed money. You know, we're being blamed for losing the home electronics business to Japan. Well, the Japanese are so far ahead of us on HDTV, we need some seed money from the government for R&D. We need a government partnership, they said, to help us develop our system to compete with the Japanese, beat them, and win this huge revolutionary portion of the consumer electronics business back for America. The Commerce Secretary at the time was Robert Mosbacher, and he said, without equivocation, no. It is not the job of the U.S. government to go into business with you people and to get involved in this way and give you seed money. We don't want to be in the HDTV business. So these companies reacted at first with disappointment. But guess what? Guess what? They went ahead. And yesterday, a new alliance was announced between 4 companies. General Instrument, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Zenith AT&T, and NBC, Thomson Phillips David Sarnoff Research Center Compression Labs, Inc., all have aligned themselves under one digital format of HTV, which, now they say, will possibly be on the market by the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta. The FCC's job is made much easier because there now is only one digital format from which to license or to compete, and as opposed to competing formats. If Zenith had their own and MIT had their own, then the FCC would get involved and choose the system. That could require years of lobbying and sales pitch and the things that go into winning government approval for a concept. But now there's only one. And guess what? It's better than the Japanese system. The Japanese system is analog. I can't believe the Japanese are messing around with analog of this. Analog is like a phonograph record compared to a compact disc. I can't believe that they're messing with it in an analog way. So we're way ahead of them. And this alliance of U.S. corporations has occurred without the government. Precisely and specifically without the government. And it's going to revolutionize a business. It's a new technology. Has Al Gore been involved? Nope. President Clinton been involved? Nope. Have any of their nominees or appointments or secretaries, undersecretaries, tertiary secretaries, anybody, White House Travel Office, anybody been involved? No. After these corporations were told, hey, we're not ceding it. And Mosbacher told them, you guys can't afford it, don't get into business. If you don't have the money, don't get into the business. It's just that simple. If you can't get the money from others who are willing to invest, don't come to us. Now we have an administration who thinks they know better than these companies. I wonder where we would be with HDTV if Mosbacher had said, sure, we'll go in with you. I'll bet you the government would have been involved to the point of coming up with specs, demands, paperwork. These guys, we'd probably still be on the original drawing board, and we wouldn't be beyond the type 2 pencil and the T-squares. The Japanese system would be where it is, and it would be way ahead of ours. And we'd be celebrating how government and business work together. But instead, private sector, individuals, corporations, using their resources in the free market where there is competition and not a government subsidy to fall back on, are pulling ahead and leading the way. As we always have in consumer electronics, we always have. The problem is we get bored with what we invent and we sell the license to the Japanese and they market it consumer-wise. We're like, you draw an analogy to me. I love learning new computer programs. As soon as I've learned it, I'm tired of it. Using it, hell with it. Once you invent it, fine, go on to the next thing. That's what we do. And I think we'll learn our lesson in HDTV and hold on to it. But it's a great lesson here, folks, to again counter what the Clinton administration thinks is the right way to go. Back in a minute.
You're listening to the EIB Network. Is pro basketball legend Magic Johnson telling the whole truth about how he contracted AIDS? Data from the Center for Disease Control clearly indicates that AIDS is rare among heterosexual men who do not use IV drugs. But editors at top newspapers have killed articles investigating the Magic Johnson story. Why is the press afraid to pursue the truth about AIDS and Magic Johnson? The American Spectator reveals never-before published information about AIDS, Magic Johnson, plus the truth about Anita Hill, Ted Kennedy, Oliver Stone, Jesse Jackson, and Hillary Clinton. Call now and we'll rush you our free investigative report on Magic Johnson and AIDS, along with 12 issues of the American Spectator, the most fearless magazine in America. Call 800-257-7676. For just $34.95, you'll get the American Spectator plus a free blockbuster Magic Johnson AIDS report. Call 800-257-7676. Call now, 800-257-7676, and ask for the American Spectator.
Dear Hooked on Phonics, for 27
embarrassing years, I had a secret. I could barely read. I tried many reading programs. Nothing worked. Then I got hooked on phonics. In 2 months, I went from a 3rd to a 10th grade reading level. Since Hooked on Phonics, I finished trade school and have my own business. If you have a problem with reading, try Hooked on Phonics. It changed my life. It could change yours. Signed, Eric, Zanesville, Ohio.
Call 1-800-ABCDEFG.
It's not the percentage off you get on the merchandise you buy, it's what you pay that counts. Monk's Furniture has revolutionized the way you buy furniture. Low, deeply discounted furniture on sale every day. Salespeople authorized to give on-the-spot discounts. A great selection of name brand furniture in Monk's 22,000 square foot showroom and a low-key, no-pressure approach to doing business. Monk's calls it shopping the warehouse way. You'll call it a great deal. There's a difference in furniture stores. Monk's Furniture, Highway 70 LaGrange.
Monk's has everything you expect from your furniture store.
There's only one dealer that has the car you want at the price you want. Leith, Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Isuzu in Goldsboro will sell you the car you want at a price you won't find anywhere. Leith has just been awarded the Jeep Eagle dealership for the greater Goldsboro area, and Jeeps and Eagles will be arriving daily. Therefore, all Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Isuzu vehicles will be sold just to make room for the new ones to arrive. Leith in Goldsboro has over 400 cars, trucks, and vans to choose from in their inventory, which means you get the car you want, and the prices, well, how about these examples? A brand new 93 Isuzu truck, only $79.95, or a brand new Plymouth Sundance for only $88.95. Dodge Intrepid, loaded with extras, $16,995. A brand new Dodge Caravan or Plymouth Voyager, only $14,795. So now that you know that Leith of Goldsboro is the only dealership that has the car you want at the price you want, it's time to see it for yourself. Price includes all rebates and incentives, tax tag and dealer doc fee are extra. Leith, Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Isuzu, and coming soon, Jeep Eagle, Highway 70 West, Goldsboro.
I don't drive no limousine, don't fancy that fine cuisine. I got no use for that rat race routine. I go simple, I go easy, I go Greyhound.
Leave the car home and leave the driving to us, because we've cut our fares to thousands of places. No advance purchase and no strings attached.
I go easy, I go Greyhound, and leave the driving to us.
Now, more broadcast excellence on 1150 WGBR.
A lot of good phone calls on hold. Let's get started with them in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Bill, hi.
Hi, Rush. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Thank you, sir. Good to hear from you.
Good. I got just 3-4 comments to make. Number one, on your show on Equal Time.
Yeah, the Mary Madeline Jane Wallace show last night. Thank you.
I saw it last night. I don't know whether that's a repeat or what.
No, it was the first. It was their inaugural show. I was their first guest. It was their, and it was done live at 8:30 Eastern Time.
Right, that's what we heard it. And Jane Wallace come on a 4/3.
Well, you know, you gotta cut people some slack on their first show. They're trying to work out their format on that show, and it's clear I saved the first show.
But Ms. Madeline, she's something.
Oh, they're great.
I'd vote for her any day.
Well, yes, maybe you get a chance to someday. You never know. But they're both nice women.
Yeah,
I enjoy them both.
And I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Jane, you know, she's got a tough road to hoe here, because you know, liberals go on TV and they have a lot of friends demand, okay, you got to get Limbaugh.
Yeah.
You got to make sure Limbaugh gets nailed. And liberals, I mean, it's a tough thing for.
Well, you had her laughing too much. She couldn't get out of it.
Well, she likes me. See, that's the problem she's having today. You actually like him? Well, yeah, I do. Well, you're not one of us. And they slap her around and they forget her.
Well, look, I just want to say a couple other things, too. Couldn't get the groceries in the house fast enough, listening to you on the radio on the way home. But I wanted to make a couple of remarks. Number one, about the lady with the gun laws. And I'm an ex-NRA member. My son is a member. I taught him to shoot. We've never shot a fowl or an animal in our life. Just shoot in a range. And, you know, this is crazy with the gun laws. When you read about the legal system today, when you look in the paper and you look at one column, a white-collar crime can be sentenced to up life imprisonment and $1.4 million fine. And the next column, somebody shoots 3 people, murders them, and could get 25 years and then also get out in 5.
Yeah, for good behavior. Yeah, that generally happens because the people other than white collars, they've been oppressed by the white collar guys. White-collar guys have had life easy. They haven't got their fingernails dirty. They've just had a piece of cake. Go to college, get a degree, and earn big bucks. Bill Clinton's going to fix them. And everybody else is going to be happy because, yeah, it's the truth. I'm glad you called. Thanks much. Kenny in Yuba City, California. Welcome to the EIB Network.
Hi, Rush.
Yes, sir.
Hi, it's just Ken. But mega dittos from somebody who drove 1,200 miles to the bake sale and slept in his car.
Well, thank you very much for calling. I'm glad you had a good time there.
Oh, it was fantastic. I'm so glad to get through to you. This is my first time ever trying to call. I had a comment about the Denny's thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to know why, if it was one waitress that was giving these guys trouble, why are they going after the entire Denny's company?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not just this one waitress or this one store. The incident that everybody knows about took place the same day that Denny's settled a federal discrimination suit that was brought by 32 black customers in California. 32 black customers sued Denny's, said, you're overcharging us, and you're forcibly removing us from restaurants in California for no reason.
Well,
and they were found guilty, and the Justice Department they settled this case. Not found guilty. They settled this case out of court. We can't say they were found guilty, but they settled a discrimination suit. So it's not isolated.
Well, I mean, even that seems kind of suspicious to me. I don't like to try and smell a conspiracy everywhere, but the fact that stuff like that occurs on the same day, I don't understand. It just seems to me like you ought to deal with things as isolated incidents, one at a time.
They're doing, look, Denny's didn't stand. Denny's fired the general manager. The waitress is in trouble. They've got witnesses on this stuff. Are you saying, I know you don't want to use the word conspiracy, but are you saying that these Secret Service agents are less than honest about the experience?
Well, it seems surprising to me that all of a sudden we're attacking a company in general. I've always been bothered by people that go after an organization in general because of an isolated incident. I think you ought to deal with each incident and each person that's involved in a problem one at a time, rather than look at trying to make, this is a great big movement. This is one, it's an entity that's out to get us.
I do understand. Yes, that's a good point. But let it be stated that on this show we've not gone after Denny's in a corporate sense, but that's as close as I'm going to get to this story. Folks, this is one story I've ever wanted to tell. It's this. But my better judgment is interceding here. So don't pressure me. Don't call here and beg, because I'm susceptible to that. Ken, I understand your point, and it is a good one. It's one for all of us to keep in mind. Back with more in a minute.
I get a headache. I start looking for some aspirin. I get a backache. I start looking for a bed.
For over 70 years, pharmacists have recommended DeWitt's pills for fast, effective backache relief.
I tried those other brands, but DeWitt's pills, they got me up and at 'em again.
DeWitt's pills contain 5 active ingredients, not just 1 or 2 like the other leading brands. So next time your back hurts, don't take just any pills. Demand DeWitt's.
This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
Good afternoon. At 2:30, it's 88 degrees. I'm Dory Roberts. The Wayne Area Commission told the county manager and finance officer after a 4.5-hour work session last night to cut $1.3 million from the proposed county budget, to leave it in 13 of the 25 new jailers sought by the sheriff, to include 2 fraud investigators for social services, and to find a pay raise for county employees. Pay raises mentioned include 1%, 2%, 2.5%, or maybe a $500 increase for all employees. Commissioner Jimmy Ford said a tax increase would be needed. Commissioner John Dart said he would not go along with that. Commissioners decided they will get more information and hold a 2-hour breakfast work session Tuesday before their 10 a.m. regular board meeting. The staff has been studying the sheriff's request for 25 additional jailers for the new jail and recommended the commission start with 13 and continue reviewing the need. The proposed budget eliminates virtually all requested new employees in all departments, as well as extra help, new equipment, and even the budget for gas, tires, and oil for the Sheriff's Department. That cut was based on this year's expenditure, and the staff assured it would not mean a reduction in services. Commissioners did, however, direct the staff to go ahead and employ an additional employee in inspections, so citizens will not have to wait for permits or inspections. The new Wayne County Courthouse addition and new jail will go into operation October 1st. Word to that effect was given to Wayne County Commissioners by Finance Officer Norman Ricks. Ricks said commissioners can expect to close the satellite jail on the 117 North Bypass and the courtrooms in the former Music and Sports Building on Walnut Street near the courthouse. Mention was made that other uses may be made of the courtrooms. A commissioner inquired as to any further use of the satellite jail. On questioning, manager Will Sullivan said he had one inquiry about leasing the satellite jail facility, but that was a while back. Asked about the prospects of the satellite jail being used again, Sullivan said he hopes not. And last night's public hearing to solicit comments on suggestions from the public for making application for a North Carolina Community Development Block Grant in the Economic Development category netted no comments, though one person was present for that hearing and the board's budget work session as well. Project engineer Kendall Lewis told commissioners a project can be announced to the application of the next public hearing, which is yet to be announced. Time for our forecast from the Weather Center.
Well, a cold front now over West Virginia will sweep southeast into the region during the next 24 hours or so, bringing some unsettled weather along with it. The forecast for this afternoon, partly cloudy skies, some scattered afternoon thunder showers around, highs in the mid-80s. Then tonight, scattered rain showers and thunderstorms continue overnight, the low 60 to 65 degrees. For tomorrow, we'll see some periods of light rain ending late in the morning, then increasing sunshine late in the afternoon, the high 75 to 80. I'm Mike Moss at the Weather Center.
Thanks, Mike. Right now it's 88 degrees as we return to the Rush Limbaugh Show on WGBR.
Yeah. Rush Limbaugh.
1-800-282-2882. This the Rush Limbaugh program. Not to be repetitive, folks, but the president is being true to form in two recent incidents. One with the airplane on the tarmac at LAX. Well, they told me it was no problem. They told me it was all right for me to do it. And then the White House Travel Office, which is a true scandal. One in which Bob Dole is demanding an explanation, demanding an answer on why is it that the FBI can be called by the White House to conduct a phantom investigation and then be given guidance by the White House in what they want the FBI to find. So the FBI does it. The White House says, thank you. We've got grounds to terminate some people. They fire them. They smear them. And then the president's pals are brought in one of the purest cases of patronage that's yet been seen inside the Beltway. And the president's reaction, well, I didn't know about any of this. All I'm doing is saving the taxpayers' money. It's not flying, President Clinton. You're going to have to come up with some other approach. You're not fooling people anymore. Take a look at your plummeting approval ratings. It isn't working. This class warfare, hey, I didn't know anything. I am feeling your pain, and I'm trying to save you money. You can't say you're saving anybody any money. People know you're going to cost them a lot of money, President Clinton. You're not saving anybody a dime. And if you're saving anybody a dime in the White House Travel Office, it's the press. The public has nothing to do with this. News organizations pay for their charter flights and all this. You know what may have really been going on in here? The travel business is a competitive business, and everybody likes to fly in comfort. And you never know, some charter outfit that they might have been using might have been giving them press planes that had first-class seats in them, or coach seats that were not so packed together that they sardined in there. And they might have been charging coach prices for first-class accommodations to get the business. And that made a competitive bid all that much tougher. You never know what's going on in there. But I will bet you the people in that White House travel office were trying to accommodate the press. I'll bet you they were trying to do the best they could for the press. And now it's all out that these people have done something illegal, that there's some kind of accounting irregularity, and all the people must be gotten rid of. And this to save the taxpayers, it's not washing President Clinton. You know, you must not know what you do is how you do what you do is being received out here. Weston, Massachusetts. Rita, hello. Welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.
Well, it's really quite a thrill to get through.
Thank you very much.
I was watching the TV news at 7 o'clock last night and was annoyed by one of the anchormen who was talking about the Japanese student who was killed in Louisiana.
Right.
And I agreed with what's been said this afternoon, that it was indeed a tragedy. But I went out to read my evening paper after that, and I have a quote from the Boston Herald, Monday, May the 24th, 1993. And I read two facts in that report that I had not seen anywhere else, and I usually read between 2 and 3 newspapers a day.
What are they?
The first one is that that 2 people approached the door looking for the Halloween party. And the Japanese student was not alone, which has been what I've been gathering and people have been saying. And according to this, there's a second young man. The second point that I haven't seen in any other report is that the man who opened the door, his lawyer says, had been the victim of other crimes before, and that he had acted in self-defense. And I highly agree with your suggestion that since it was Halloween time, the crazies are out, and that none of the reports have said whether the 2 boys were in costume or not. And if he had been in a situation before where he had to act in self-defense, then if his home is as castle as it is, then he probably went to the door armed that particular night with something for protection. And I can't say I blame him.
Well, that's, what we're really down to, I think, again here is trying to understand a jury verdict. We're now in the throes of a jury verdict we don't understand. Most people, we don't know the details of the case. Most of you don't admit it. You don't know the details of the case. All you know is that an innocent Japanese student went to the door by mistake and got shot by a Louisiana redneck. And then they go to trial and they say not guilty. How can this be? And you don't know the facts. We don't know. We weren't there. These jury trials, I think it's amazing what happens in courtrooms today. Now, aside from trying to understand the verdict, then there's the added curiosity of why did the guy do it in the first place? And that's what people are discussing here in both, but in different contexts. And it's hard to separate them. But yeah, I didn't know. I'm not. Have you read any of you guys in there that there were 2 people who went to the door? I haven't either. We'll find out. Well, did you say, Rita?
I thought it would be something you really ought to check on, and it would certainly cast another light.
It's the Boston Herald that has that story?
It's Boston Herald, May 24th, 1993, and it's somewhere on the first 2 or 3 pages.
Didn't the Boston Herald just did a story on me? Now I was going to say the Boston Herald is an irrefutable source, but they do now have you read the story? It's a good story. Okay, I understand that the Boston Herald did a good story on me. The headline has nothing to do with the story. Is that right? I mean, the headline has nothing to do with the story because the headline is written by somebody else. The headline's written by a feminist in the bowels of the newspaper whose only claim to fame is to get even through headlines. What's the headline say? How can this man call women feminazis? And the story has nothing to do with that. It doesn't even mention feminazi in the body of the story. How can this man? So you got a feminist up there with her nose out of joint, and perhaps some other body parts as well out of joint. And So you never know what's going to be Boston Herald. Rita, thanks for the call. Madison, Wisconsin, and Bob. Hello.
Dittos, Rush, from
Thank
the
you.
University of Political Correctness here in Madison.
Thank you very much.
What I wanted to comment on was on Nightline did a feature